William Shakespeare. Who was William Shakespeare? Many people think Shakespeare is the greatest playwright who ever lived. Hundreds of words and phrases we use every day were invented by him, words like cold-blooded, quarrelsome, and love letter. Much of his personal life remains a mystery. What kind of man and father was he? What made him write plays? A horrible illness swept through the country. It was called the Black Death or bubonic plague. The Shakespeares belonged to England's middle class. They weren't rich, nor were they part of the nobility. In 1514, Nicholas Copernicus, a Polish astronomer, first wrote that the sun was the center of the solar system. In 1519, Ferdinand Magellan, a Portuguese explorer, set out to sail all the way around the world. The printing press, invented in the 1400s, made many more books available. As a young boy, Will learned a great deal from plays, poetry, and folk tales. Sometimes professional actors came to Stratford, and Will's father gave them permission to perform in town. Learning Latin was very important. Will began studying it when he was 7. In the 1570s, the wool trade collapsed. When the wool trade suffered, everyone suffered. Will's father had rised quickly in the town of Stratford. He fell on hard times as fast. Will was the oldest and expected to help out at home. We don't know what jobs he took after leaving school. Will was only 18. He couldn't even apply for a marriage license by himself. The Shakespeare family was still struggling. It was a time of famine. His cousin had been accused of plotting against the Queen. He was secretly a Catholic. In England, it was a dangerous time for Catholics. The Queen was the head of the Church of England. Catholics were viewed with suspicion. London was home to the richest of the rich and the poorest of the poor. The gates on either end of London Bridge were often decorated in a gruesome way. The rotting heads of dead traitors were stuck on poles. "Beware," these hideous heads seemed to say. "Go against the Queen, and you will pay the price." Some people wonder how Will could know so much about the world. In William Shakespeare's time, the world came to London. Burbage's wooden theatre was a circular arena with an open roof. A giant stage sat in the center of the arena. It was surrounded by galleries on 3 sides. The Lord Mayor of London did not support the theatre. Theatres attracted big, noisy crowds that drank too much ale and spread diseases such as the plague. The Lord Mayor placed many restrictions on acting troupes. There were rules for when and where they could perform. The success of the new theatres was due to Queen Elizabeth. She loved plays. The Queen's love of the theatre made it a respectable pastime for all Londoners. During the 1500s in England, there were a group of young writers who were very smart and creative. They went to famous universities like Oxford and Cambridge, so people called them the university wits. They loved writing exciting plays for the theatre. The university wits were all the rage in London. They wrote action-packed plays with ancient Greek and Roman settings. Blank verse doesn't rhyme, but it has rhythm. Shakespeare used iambic pentameter to make his words flow as gracefully as notes of music. Christopher Marlowe and William Shakespeare would have become great rivals in the world of theatre, but Marlowe was killed in 1593 at the age of 29. At this time, Will began to write. At first, he probably added lines to other people's plays. Will also had a very naughty sense of humor. He may have thought up jokes to make the audience laugh. New plays were rehearsed every morning. Will was hardworking, smart, and versatile.